Welcome to the Bombshell Business Podcast, where driven women in business learn how to become more bold, brave, and unwaveringly confident. Feel empowered and challenged through inspiring stories and tell it like it is advice for business, life, and leadership. Hey, welcome back to the Bombshell Business Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Hurdle, and I'm very grateful that you are here another week. I was just looking at our show stats and I was like, wow, we've really grown. And that's because of you being a regular, consistent listener, for subscribing, for sharing, for doing ratings and reviews and telling your friends. It's certainly not on me. It has to be on you. So thank you so much for that. Today, I'm ridiculously excited about our interview. She's probably one of the most fabulous, sparkly people I know. It's Kirbee Miller. She is our Bombshell Business Expert for all things lifestyle. And today we're going to talk about harnessing the season transition. So you can always look put together during this like really wonky time where it's like, well, it's kind of fall, but why does it still feel like summer, except for at night when it feels like winter? So if you are experiencing that in your life, girl, we got you today. And seriously, Kirbee is like next level amazing. So if you have not read her blog posts, then you need to hop on over to amberhurdle.com and check them out because she's super amazing. But first, of course, we've got to do our announcements and our shout outs. So let's talk a little bit. The app. Oh my gosh, y'all, we are so close. I mean, we are so close. I'll be making an announcement in the next few days. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a bonus episode or not, but I might. Who knows? It's going to be a crazy week. I'm actually re-recording the intro to this because I thought it would be out by now. Just kidding. So we're waiting on approvals from the App Store and all that good jazz. So we are literally days away. Hang tight with me. It'll be amazing. I promise. And then, of course, I'm doing a series of webinars, y'all, and you need to go. We're talking about the secret to building your business brand, and I am going to shoot you straight like I always do on what you're doing right with your brand and what you're doing wrong with your brand and how you can fix it. And I'm going to answer questions at the end, so you want to be sure to bring your questions. This is something that I know is a big issue for my bombshells. We get in our head with things. We overthink things, and I think the secret that I'm going to share is going to cut through a lot of that internal drama that you have in your brain when you're feeling like, why am I so stuck on my brand? And I want to get you unstuck. So seriously, you need to register for this, and then you'll get a worksheet immediately. Like you'll get a notification from my webinar software saying like you're in, and then you're going to get an email from me that actually has a link to a worksheet. So if all you do is a worksheet, rock on with your bad self. But we really want you to attend live so you can ask the questions and get the bonuses that I'll be giving for free on the webinar. And, you know, if you can't make it, still register. We'll send you a replay. Again, I think it's going to bring you a ton of clarity on why your brand just ain't clicking. So if that's an issue for you, or even if you just want to get better with your branding, then let's solve that problem together. Bring your questions for realies, and we will do our thing. You probably could hear that I have a complete snot monster in my head right now. I've been in bed for 3 days, but I came back to life so that I could interview today's guest and also to give a shout out to, it looks like Zombie, lots of E's. Zombie left a rating and review in iTunes, which is super important to do so that other women can use your experience to determine if this is a good resource for them or not. And then you're actually helping other women by doing that. She says, a friendly, smart voice. As a handy person, handy being, ? I think Amber would be appalled to know that I have on more than one occasion repaired a broken fingernail with a box cutter, but I don't think she'd judge. Her advice is incredibly useful. She's funny and warm, and I feel a sense of well-being when I listen to her. My new small business has benefited from her wisdom. I am not appalled, girl. I think you are super MacGyver. I think Bombshells are resourceful, and you've obviously proven that you can do that. Bombshells aren't necessarily all girly. We like our high heels, but we also are fix-it people. So love that. Thank you so much. And let's see if I can get through this interview without having like a total explosion in my head. So let me tell you about Miss Kirbee Miller. Kirbee Miller is one of our Bombshell Business Experts, and her expert role is lifestyle. And when I was thinking about like who is the right lifestyle expert, like I literally did not think of anybody else but Kirbee. And I was just crossing my fingers that she had enough bandwidth in her incredibly busy schedule to do this. You've probably seen Kirbee somewhere on social media because she is everywhere. Definitely her YouTube channel. Her heart is actually in the kitchen. So that one of the many reasons why I love her. Y'all know how much I love to cook. Cooking and baking have been monumental parts of her life since childhood. Her best memories are in the kitchen, and she thinks that good food is an opportunity to authentically connect. Developing new recipes and orchestrating flavor profiles with delicious ingredients is her way to channel passion and creativity into every bite. She thinks food should be flavorful, creative, beautiful, and most importantly, should leave an impact. There are few things better than the seconds of contemplative silence that follow the first bite of delicious food that never gets old. Amen. She's been cooking since she was 5 and has not stopped since. She launched an online cooking show to share her inner foodie via her brand, KiNiMi Kitchen. And you can find her, again, all over the internet, Facebook, Twitter. I love following her on Instagram, Pinterest. Of course, you've got to follow her YouTube channel and then LinkedIn, and all of that will be in the show notes. I don't even know what else to say. There is so much to say, Kirbee. Welcome to your first episode of the Bombshell Business Podcast.
Well, Amber, I am super excited to be doing this interview with you. And I have to just say, you have shown your bombshellness by saying, listen, I've got the snot monster, but there's a work to do. And I love that. And I can relate to that. So I'm super excited about the time that we'll spend together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been in bed for 3 days. I've been working in bed for 3 days. And I always have to look at like, I'm not on the road speaking. That's great. I didn't have any VIP retreats scheduled. So on the one hand, I'm like, like all of my catch up days that I really need to be in the office. Like I'm in bed on my laptop. But on the other hand, like I don't have the snot monster on stage. So count your blessings, right?
There's always silver lining.
Right. Well, we've heard all of your professional accolades. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you've got a beautiful, abundant personal life too.
Sure. So I am originally from Michigan. I relocated to Nashville about 14 years ago to go to college and fell in love with the city, the people, of course, the food scene. And through that time, I've seen how the city has evolved and has been the perfect place to launch KiNiMi Kitchen on so many different levels, professionally, personally. The growth, the network that I've been able to plug into has been absolutely amazing. Personally, I love to travel. And of course, that's a great way to experience food in different places and cultures. I don't have any children or pets, which is kind of funny. I love all the things. So I will play with your puppy and rock your baby. I just kind of joke with people that, succulents and basil plants and I are still trying to, have a relationship where I can keep them alive. So I should start there before moving on to other living things. But I love people and food and connection, and any way that can kind of take shape, you'll probably find me there.
Absolutely. I think that is your spiritual gift, that ability to connect. I mean, obviously hospitality, but you have a special way of immediately finding connection with another human and making it a safe and warm and inviting place. So total side note, Kirbee came to one of my book signings in Nashville at Parnassus Books, and it was a horribly cold, bitter, like probably one of the worst winter nights that Nashville had seen that season. But a ton of my best friends, like my tribe, showed up. And so Kirbee went with us afterwards to dinner. And my best friend Mark and her just like, they got settled in. Mark is like her super fan, like her biggest fan ever. And I was actually at his house the other night and we were talking about you as we were cooking. So he just loves you.
I love that.
But my whole point
I loved them. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I just said I love them. And I just had to giggle because that night I was on the way and I was like, wow, it is really cold, but I cannot wait to hear what she has to say. I have to be there. And just the fact that your tribe was like, hey, we can do a +1. And by the end of the night, I kind of felt like I was part of the group. It was amazing. So again, people, connection, food,
Yep.
it's where it's at.
That's it. And that's kind of my those people are that way. And I think that's why I love you so much. So today we are going to talk style guide, harnessing the season transition with Kirbee Miller. Now, I know not everybody, actually most people that listen to this episode are not in Middle Tennessee, but the one thing that you could count on in Middle Tennessee is that whatever you think the weather is going to be is not. And it might hail in July and it might be 70 degrees on Christmas Day. But the most frustrating season, I think, for anybody, whether you're in Middle Tennessee or elsewhere, is that that time between summer and fall where you're trying to transition out of that summer, like, I don't want to say fearless, but kind of like carefree summer, and now you're kind of getting back into business and back into the swing of things. The weather's changing, your responsibilities are changing. Like, it's a whole vibe that shifts. So what do we do, Miss Lifestyle Expert?
That time of the year, that is a challenge. That happens to be one of my most favorite times of the year because I don't know what it is. Every year, like as we're transitioning, it just feels like this new beginning, a new chapter for me. And like you said, it comes down to, all right, we're shifting gears. But for me, it's kind of like, let's get it done kind of attitude.
Yep.
However, it is a little tricky because you can get dressed in the morning. Like, okay, I checked, it's a little chilly out. I put on some jams. I'm going to throw on these tights, maybe a cardigan. And by lunch, you might look like a crazy person because the temperature has shifted. So I definitely know that you have to have your toolkit ready. Definitely get an app on your phone or have a reminder or have something to check the weather because there have been many mornings, even though I try to be on top of it, you're like, oh, it's definitely cold. It's going to stay this way. Nope. Carve out some time, take a peek at the weather, and make sure you have your toolkit of clothes that have different layering options. That has been key because I will tell you, sometimes you could see me at 8 a.m. and by lunchtime, I've shed a cardigan. I've changed up the outfit a little bit because normally after my workday, I transition into doing some type of event in the evening. So you just have to be ready to pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're, I just did a complete purge of my son's bedroom and I'm working through, and a lot of it was clothes.
Yes.
And so if I'm kind of attacking this transitional season, what's the first step that I would take in order to be able to put myself together in a professional way every day without looking like an idiot by 4 o'clock?
Right. So you're not trying to like duck your head and get into the car. Please, no one see me. And of course, that's when everyone will see you. So step one would be to let's just cut the clutter. So what you just said about your son's room, I think we all can relate to that. When you take that time and you have to purge, it is time consuming, but it's absolutely essential for this transition from summer into fall. Because for me, there's nothing more frustrating than it's starting to get darker in the morning. You're trying to get ready and you're pulling out things that are not applicable. So step one is cut the clutter and make sure that anything that you put your hands on could go. And so that starts with, for me, I throw on my favorite music station, get in some comfy clothes, and then handle the business. So it's just kind of look at what's in your closet. It's not rocket science, but I promise you, if you try this, you'll be like, there's something to this. You look at your clothes and you kind of make your keep pile. These are things that I could not part with. And let's all be honest, sometimes we put things in the keep pile that don't need to stay there, but we'll circle back on that. Because you're like, oh, sure, I'll wear that. Have you worn it in 2 years? And then you have your pile, pass it on. Things that every time that you have to take them out of the dryer and fold them or hang them up, you're like, ugh, why do I even have this? Let's pass those on. Let's let somebody else love them. The next category I like to think about is a little interesting for me. It's the still fit. Maybe it's too big. Maybe it's too small. Think about how you feel when you put it on. If it does not make you feel amazing, moment of truth, if it does not make you feel amazing, it does not fit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than having that morning you put on clothes and then you're fidgeting all day, or you're like, how can I cover this up? Or this looks like I need to belt this. So at this point in time, if it doesn't fit, let's go ahead and put that in its own pile. It may need to go to the pass it on pile, or maybe one thing that I've done, those little bags that you put clothes in and then you can use the vacuum to kind of shrink them down.
Oh, yeah.
I may or may not have a couple of those with clothes that kind of fell into that pile, but I wasn't ready to part with. But the moral of the story is get them out of your normal day-to-day workspace, because they'll just end up being frustrating. And that still fit and not yet. Those kind of go together. And so set a timer. Put on some jams and cut the clutter. You will be so thankful on those mornings when you're kind of like stumbling into the closet, unless you're a morning person. That's not me.
No.
That's not my gift.
Me neither.
But when you're in your closet and you put your hands on something, you can be pretty confident, okay, this is going to feel good. I'm going to look good. You just kind of, if you're thinking about this kind of as a system, you don't want things in your system that aren't useful to you. You got to kind of trim the fat and just have what you need for business. So step one, let's cut the clutter.
Yeah, and a good time to do this too. I'm a pretty good purger most of the time, because I do believe if you take the time when you have like a Sunday afternoon or something to do it, then you're going to save so much time day to day when you don't have any margin to function. Like, you need to do it when you've got some breathing room. But I do it most often
Absolutely.
when I'm shopping for like multiple pieces. So if I grab something while I'm out, or I just needed a, blazer or something, I won't make myself get rid of something. But if I'm buying like 4 dresses to update like my speaking wardrobe, then I'm going to find at least that many pieces that I'm probably not going to wear again now that I have this new exciting stuff, and I make myself get rid of it. So
you do a swap.
I do a swap. Like, you're not allowed to, there's nothing worse than a jammed up closet and not being able to even see what you're getting into. And so I'm not great about this. I mean, I just got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, now, why didn't you get rid of this 2 years ago, Amber? Why are you still hanging on to this? But
So why do I have this?
it's like an exchange with myself. It's like, when we cleaned out our toy boxes as kids, and we had to like, we're going to give these toys away to the kids that don't have, the ability to have these toys, so that when Santa Claus comes, there's room for your new toys. So that's kind of the approach I take with myself.
Yeah. And I think that's really, really important, because I think we've heard it all before. You're standing in this big room of all these things, but you feel like you have nothing to wear. So it's like being honest with yourself and knowing that your future self will thank you for the work that you're about to do. So it's not always fun, but it's necessary.
And you know what you're wearing and you're not wearing. You know what you go to for. I'm definitely innovative, and I like to switch things up and mix and match, but they're still the same pieces. I'm still not wearing that one thing that sounded really good when I bought it, and then I got it home and I'm like, why do I have pink paisley? Like, why was that a good decision?
Exactly. Yeah, it may have been 85% off in the store, but maybe we should have left it there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
So if we've cut the clutter with asking ourselves all those good, juicy questions, now what?
Okay, so now we have our core pieces. Let's organize them. I'll share how I like to organize things. You have to go with the system that works well for you, but if you don't have a system, then try out mine. See how you like it. So I like to organize my clothes by type.
Yeah.
Because when you think about your outfits that you're going to put together, you're not grabbing 2 tops or 2 pairs of pants or 2 skirts. Like, you need a combo. So kind of think of it as an assembly line. So I like to organize my shirts together, my blazers, my skirts, my pants, and within those sections, I organize them by color.
And this is why you're my spirit animal, because I do that too.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And here's why that's helpful. It's very pretty in the closet, step 1. And then step 2, when you come in and you're thinking, okay, I have got 20 minutes to get out of here. You're going to pick a bottom first and then pick your other 2 layers. And this also helps you kind of mix and match. So kind of what you were talking about before. You can do so much with a few key pieces to layer them differently, to accessorize them differently. And when they're organized in this way, you can kind of visualize that a bit better. So I like to have, like I said, the different types, and then also have your accessories ready. I'm not always great about this because I don't know about you, but sometimes at the end of the night, my earrings are coming off, my necklace is coming off, and it may not end up
Right.
in its intended place, but it's great to put it back there so you can say, okay, I've got my pieces. I've picked out of my different buckets for my clothes. All right, let's throw this scarf on with it because it's a little chilly in the morning. But if I need to take this off for my, lunchtime meeting, I can tuck it in my bag. So you're not searching for things and you're able to kind of put together. I like to think of it as a surprise, surprise food reference as like a little buffet of fashion.
Yes. Oh, I love it. That's so good. So good.
So yeah, that's definitely, yes. And this, I'm telling you, will make a world of difference because we've all had those mornings where you grab something and like I said, you don't feel right by the time you see people that you were hoping not to see. And so this will definitely make the difference between people saying, well, at least she tried it. And wow, she looks really put together. So try it out for size if you don't have a system. Try the organizing system.
And we're all about branding on this podcast, and whether it's right or wrong, people are going to evaluate who you are based on their first impression. When you walk in, what you're wearing is the first snapshot that people get from you. And so the colors are going to say something. The way that it fits you is going to say something. If it's, and I'm not saying you have to go to a tailor or anything, but if you get the ill-fitting things that are too long or too short or too tight or too baggy, you don't want to look unkempt or slovenly. I mean, those are just, and it happens.
Yeah, it does happen, especially out of necessity. Because again, if you have some things in your closet that don't necessarily fit you well, but everything that, kind of fits you well is in the laundry, then you've set yourself up for failure. That's why you kind of want to make sure that anything that's in your closet is grab and go ready. Because I think you hit on something really important with your social currency. And you don't really have a chance to recoup that. Now, in a perfect world, we could all show up, yoga pants and top knot. And if that's your thing, I respect you. But it's not necessarily a perfect world. And to your point, when somebody sees you, that's your first opportunity to engage with them, even though that's nonverbal. So I think that's very important. So it's a matter of just setting yourself up for success. What do I want somebody to get about my vibe?
Yeah. Ooh, I like it.
Yes, it's so true. And it's something that, again, I don't take hours to get ready in the morning or even an hour to get ready in the morning. So you find little ways to become efficient, but make sure that you have this consistent brand that you're putting out there, to your point.
Yeah. And, and also I don't want to intimidate anybody because I'll put, and let me tell you, sometimes I am the yoga pants and top knot girl. Anybody in Lebanon, Tennessee who sees me at Publix, they know like Amber just left the gym or, Amber's obviously doesn't have any appointments today. So I'm not saying never do that, but if you're going to present yourself in a way where know you're going to be engaging with other people and it matters how they perceive you, that's what I'm saying. And have that, athleisure wear or, that more loungy type wear, because I've gotten like where I've put on leggings and a tunic that covers my butt, leggings and a tunic and some cute boots or something. And my hair is at least brushed through and I have, minimal makeup, but I have a little bit, just enough on. That's when people are like, oh my gosh, I love your outfit. And I'm like, really? My Target tunic and my Old Navy leggings?
Like this? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, my Ugg boots are doing a lot for me in this situation, apparently.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. And every day doesn't have to be a production, especially like if you're running out, because it's so funny. I see people sometimes and they're like, oh my gosh, like you look put together. And I'm like, let me just tell you a secret. It's eye cream and concealer and then something that I feel, comfortable in. So it doesn't have to be this big, well thought out production, but it's just, do you feel comfortable? If you saw a snapshot of you, would you feel comfortable with what's presented? Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, just like the purge saves you time day to day, so will organizing your closet in a way that works for you. I happen to love Kirbee's way because that's the way I've adopted for many, many years, because it does make it easy. Like, oh, I'm wearing, like today, I grabbed a pair of blue navy slacks with white polka dots on them. And then I went to the blue section where I had a light summer blue sweater. And then, just grabbed my little tank top and now I match. And I
There you
know,
go.
I mean, it's all right there. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to dig.
Right.
But doing that when you put your laundry up on the front end does take a little bit longer to organize it that way. But day to day, it'll be a lifesaver. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've cut the clutter. We've organized our wardrobe. You got any other tips? What's one more final tip?
Yeah, let's talk about if you're saying, well, Kirbee, after I purged, I don't have much left. That's fine. After you've tried things on, if you don't feel like they fit you or they represent you, my last tip would be let's build our foolproof toolkit. And that just means, again, you put your hands on it, you could put it on your body and walk out the door and feel comfortable. And so for this time of year, again, kind of focusing on it's kind of hot, it's kind of not, maybe it's going to be chilly at night. We want to think about layers. So I would say think about your outerwear layers. And I don't know about you all, but I'm super excited to pull back out like my olive green jacket, my khaki jackets. Like this is my time of year. But you want to make sure that they're flattering, because all blazers and jackets are not created equally.
Preach.
And we all have to know what flatters our body type. And so there are plenty of guides online, or if you want to hop out and just try on a few things, you want to find what works for you. And if you find something that works for you, grab it in a few colors. But the cut is often very important, because jackets, while they may keep you warm and you're like, oh, this is kind of cute, they can often make you look too boxy, or if they're cut in such a way that's not flattering, again, it's not going to enhance that overall look. So by building your toolkit, you need the outerwear. I'd say at least 3 to 4 core pieces that make you feel extremely comfortable, but you want to make sure that you get the right cut that's right for you. You also want to pepper in some cardigans and some dusters so that you can grab and go. I also keep some in my front closet of my house, a few that are a little bit more versatile, so that if I'm running out and I'm like, do I not? I can grab something that's more neutral and just have it available. And just kind of a tip for this coming fall, the colors that you may want to consider that I love, I'm actually still on the search for a gray one, but a nice heather gray. Burnt orange definitely is in every fall. A cognac color, kind of like a beautiful cognac duster or blazer. Again, that can take you from day to night. And I love mustard. I actually just bought a mustard dress, a mustard peplum top, so you'll be seeing that this year. So get your outerwear together. Your tops, definitely make sure that you have things that, again, can layer and you feel comfortable in. And for me, I'm a huge fan of dresses. People are like, oh my goodness, you're always so dressed up. Don't be fooled. It's kind of like a baby in a onesie. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, listen, let me tell you, either I ironed this, or I'm going to give you a secret here. I sprayed it with a wrinkle release and I dropped it over my head. That was it. So
I do the throw it in the dryer with a wet towel, but now I have a dryer that actually will like steam fresh things. Yes,
are you
girl.
serious?
It's a miracle.
That's a game changer.
Game changer. Yeah.
I need one of those in my life. But yeah, with the dresses, you can layer that up. You can throw it on with some cute flats, pumps, or boots, and kind of change the tone of the outfit based on what you put with it. And so having a few core dresses or skirts, if that's your thing, in solid colors, I like a couple patterned ones. So much like you said, your outfit today, Amber, you can kind of be a little bit more fun, because anytime that you can layer in a pattern with a solid that complements each other, people think, I don't know why, but they automatically think, wow, that's a little bit more effort, and it's got a wow factor to it. So that would be kind of my final tip there. Like, look at what you have. If you need to, go out and do a little shopping. And I'm a huge proponent of shop on sale. Yep. Some people buy whole outfits. That's one school of thought. Like, don't buy it if you don't have a whole outfit. That's not my life, because I like to pepper things in. So just get core pieces that are versatile.
Yeah. And, and I have to say too, really understanding your body helps a ton when you're shopping. And there's different things that you could look online to figure out, like, your specific body type, and, we could get into vertical proportions and all that kind of stuff. You go back and listen. I'll put one in the show notes of a previous episode where we talked about that kind of stuff. But like for me, one of the reasons why I love dresses is like, and let me just, before you all inbox me and be like, love your body and all that kind of stuff. I love my body. I love my body. Like, I'm totally good with my body. I don't have any insecurity issues around that. And I love food too much to ever want to be skinny. So that's never going to happen. So, but the way that I'm physically shaped, like I don't have a super defined waist. At my very thinnest as a child, as a teenager, I did not have a defined waist. So anything that really cinches in the middle is uncomfortable to me. Like I can make it look good. Like I can visually make it look like I have a waist, but it's uncomfortable. So I need a little give in pants, like a little like stretch in the waist is always super helpful because my legs are thin. So I need it to fit there, but my waist is wider. So a traditionally cut, I usually need a smaller size except for my waist, if that makes any sense. So
yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Doing things like that, finding a dress where I might be able to do a high belt, or I might layer like a tunic, or not a tunic, like a long sweater, or all those different things that you talked about, like knowing your body before you go shopping and being able to look in the mirror and say, I'm a little short-waisted. This is a boxed cut jacket. I need something that's tapered in the middle to give the illusion that I have more of a waist than I do. I need to, keep the patterns on my bottom half instead of my top half because I'm top heavy.
Right.
Like darker colors up top. If I wear white, I'm not going to look great because I've got broad shoulders. I mean, these are all things that when I say these things, people would go, "Oh, why are you beating yourself up?" It's like, I'm not beating myself up.
It's awareness.
I'm making myself look better. I know what I'm
so
working
this
with
actually
here.
helps me. And I think that's so important because that's a part of the toolkit, kind of knowing what you're looking for and what works for you will make the shopping experience more pleasant. And again, turn around, have your mornings be more productive. Like for myself, I know I'm not a short skirt person. It's not me.
Yeah.
But I also don't want something that's always to the floor. So a good midi skirt will get me where I'm going every time. So when I find one I like, I get it in a few core colors. I tend to have more of an hourglass kind of figure. And so anything that's cut straight or makes me look boxy is going to take me to the largest part of that hourglass. That's not beneficial.
Right.
So I like things that have a nice cut to them and a peplum that gives me a good shape. So if anybody knows of any great peplum places, be sure to send them to me. But that's kind of my thing. So once you find your lane, stick to it.
Yeah.
So you can feel your best.
And I think you said that, and I wish y'all could see. Well, you will once you look at all of her videos and everything. She looks amazing and put together all the time. Like she's, again, super sparkly. And when I say sparkly person, I mean like that person that walks in the room and you're like, wow, like I just want to know that person.
Oh my God. Thank you.
You're welcome. But the whole going back to, her just saying, do what works for you and do what makes you feel great. If you're trying on clothes, whether it's in your closet or out shopping, and you're not like, that you don't want to wear that. Like there's enough clothes out in the universe where you don't want to get something because it's on sale or it's good enough. Like, don't.
Yes. And that touches on something else too in your purge process, because don't think like, oh my goodness, I love this pattern. Does it have a hole in it? Does it make you feel unattractive? Like there's plenty out there that's right for you. So yeah, that's something I struggle with sometimes because I'll be like, oh, I wore that one time when I was a junior in college. Yeah, you're going to have to go ahead and pass that on.
Yeah, or make it into a quilt if you really need to keep it. All
You're
the
not going
Southerners
to wear
get that. All right. Well, any other final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Well, and just kind of my final thing would be, if you are completely overwhelmed by this, if this is not your area, just remember, none of us can show up naked without, some type of police intervention. So even if this is something that you don't want to spend a ton of time on, just consider peppering in some of these tips. And I promise you, it makes a world of difference, especially if you're on the move and you've got a lifestyle that pulls you in a lot of different directions. This kind of helps take the guesswork out of it and frees up your mental space so that you can go out there, feel good, have that social currency, and conquer the day. So even if it's not something that you think you'd focus on, try it out. And to my fellow fashionistas out there, I can't wait to hear your feedback and some of your tips. Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely. Yeah. So be sure to email me if you've got like a tip or an outfit that you want to show me. We'll post it on social media. We'll put it in maybe our stories or whatnot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love to.
Okay. So we definitely thank you so much, Kirbee, for being on the show. You're amazing as always.
And Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, Kirbee is a permanent fixture. She is our lifestyle expert in the Bombshell Business Expert. So you'll be seeing blog posts from her. And of course, she'll be each quarter on the podcast. Of course, go to amberhurdle.com/bombshell business experts to read all about her. And then my homework for you is go to Instagram. And she is KiNiMi. I said that right? Yeah. KiNiMi Kitchen. I always feel like I get that wrong. KiNiMi Kitchen. So KiNiMi Kitchen. And she's super fun to follow. Not only her fashion, but just the things that she does. She's on Talk of the Town on TV, Nashville news station. She does all kinds of neat things and knows all the cool people in Nashville. So, and if you're in the Nashville area too, she does events.
Yes, so, I'd love to see you.
Yes, and you can meet her in person and get a selfie because she's a selfie queen. All right. Well, be sure you download the app. Let us know your feedback. I'm hungry to know what you think about this new model with all of our experts. And of course, I'm always here for you with any questions that you have. So be sure to reach out. And it might take me a couple days to get to it, but I always do. And have a fabulous weekend, Bombshells.
Awesome. It's so great to be with you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Bombshell Business Podcast. Visit amberhurdle.com for more resources like show notes and check out thebombshellbusinesswoman.com to grab my book and download the free bonuses.